Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Totalbiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Babel Rising? Well, this is a game where you smite the heathens, preventing them from building the Tower of Babel or a wide variety of other interesting-looking towers. This is by a company called Mondo Production and published by Ubisoft. It's come out before on consoles as well as mobile devices. The versions do tend to vary just a little bit, but the concept is, of course, the same. Stop them from building the sodding tower. As you can see, the options menu is sparse, to say the least. There are essentially no options whatsoever. You do at least see the controls, but you can't change them in any way. Rather irritating. Not exactly great, is it? There is a stats screen, as you can see. I have played a couple of games just to get a feel for this, so let's show you what it's all about. There's campaign mode with, I believe, 15 missions, and then there's multiplayer. This multiplayer, unfortunately, is only local. Yes, indeed, and that makes me somewhat sad. If we were to go through here, you'll see player 2, blah, 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 and yeah, we can't do anything with that. So that's kind of unfortunate. The multiplayer kind of seems lame anyway, honestly. It's just build for long, at least stop your guys from building for longer than your opponent. That's all it is. And then there's score battles and cooperation. Apparently, if you get good combos, you send more minions to your enemy, but that is really about it. And since it's not online, it's really difficult to actually talk about. The campaign mode starts as a tutorial and is basically a bunch of campaign missions on a few different towers with different abilities, and that really is about it. So what I'm going to do, because it demonstrates the game best, is to actually show survival. I'm going to start on Great Ziggurat number 2, and I'll probably not play this game to completion. I'll show you another one with different powers, because honestly, this game can drag on for a while. So let's have a look. Alright, so you've got a few different abilities here, and I do really mean a few. You've got 4 elements, and you can pick 2, and each of them has an area of effect ability, a local ability, which is more targeted, and an ultimate ability, which, as you might imagine, wrecks fools. So, we're going to go with fire, and I think we'll go with wind as well. Sounds like a plan. If you go with water, by the way, your power is rain. Really? Rain? That was the best he could come up with. You know what it does? It slightly slows down the enemy. That's the best this god can come up with. It's like, what would I prefer? Fireballs or a little bit of drizzle? I mean, Lord, this god wouldn't do very well in the UK, I tell you that for a fact. Oh, rain. That's unexpected. How will we ever deal with it? Smiting. Alright, let's do some smiting, shall we? So, tornado, lightning, wall of flame, and fireball. Sounds like a lot of fun, right? Yeah, let's go with it. Alright, so that is the build, and the point is to stop the construction of the tower for as long as possible by killing the workers as they come towards it and try to build it. Partially constructed parts of the tower can be destroyed with the right abilities, but aside from that, you really just want to stop them building it to begin with, so... Alright, control system. You rotate like this, basically, and then you can move up and down with W, A, S, and D. So, start off with a fireball and a wall of flame, which they will obligingly run into. There you go, and we get a nice little combo for that as well. Put down some lightning, which, needless to say, has some rather nice chain effects. Unfortunately, I couldn't combo up anything else because there's no other bloody guys coming out of there. There we go. Yeah, have some tornadoes. Now, this seems very simple, and that's because it is. At least initially, anyway. They do send some other kinds of minions out, but before the DLC, there was a serious lack of variety. There's builders, priests that have these elemental protection auras, and these guys with pots, and if you break the pot, you get one of your abilities locked down for a little while, and that's it. That was all there was. There are now 3 more types. There's the strong worker, that guy over there, who doesn't quite die as fast, I guess, but we don't seem to have a problem killing him anyway. And then there's the Slave Master, who will increase the speed of the guys at the bottom of the tower. And last but by no means least, other priests, which are basically the same as the normal priests, that will change their elemental protection every couple of seconds. You haven't even seen one of those yet, so that's it. That really is all there is in terms of enemy types. Later on in the game, they do gain the ability to use siege towers, which will allow them to get up a little bit higher without having to go all the way up the track there. But aside from that, that pretty much covers it. Now, initially, this is kind of fun. Like, hey, we get to smite the heathens and break stuff, and that looks really nice. I mean, the PC version does look great in comparison to the others. There's no real doubt about that. This nice, I wouldn't even say cel-shaded style, but they've put a nice black stroke on the corner, or indeed on the edge of everything, which does make things rather interesting, to say the least. It makes them look great. Well, he's protecting against everything now, which is fairly irritating. Now, once you charge up, you're able to use your ultimate power, which eventually I will be able to show you. There we go. Take him out, no problem. Eventually. No, he's still there. Now he isn't. There we go. But this actually is it. And you might think, oh, well, this is kind of like a tower defense game. So where are the upgrades? There are none. No, seriously, there are no upgrades of any description. These are the powers you've got. These are the powers you will always have. You pick 2 out of the 4, and that is it. So there is a serious lack of progression in this game and a serious lack of variety. So this is all you do, which might seem cathartic for a little while, and it is. You know, it is kind of fun for a little while, but it just doesn't go anywhere, which is incredibly annoying. There's a few different maps, there's about 2 difficulty levels, and of course you can do the campaign if you so desire, but the campaign really limits you as to what you can actually use, certainly for the first few levels. Alright, well, let's use our ultimate power, shall we? Which is a bunch of fireballs, essentially. And if you shake your mouse around a little bit, it does just a little bit more damage. There we go. And then you get huge amounts of combos, and everyone screams in pain and dies in a bunch of fire. You've basically seen what Babel Rising has to offer, and this is with the DLC. Just bear in mind there's even less variety with the base game. So what would I have done to improve this title? Well, I would have started with realizing that progression actually matters and put some upgrades in. You can charge your ability up to level 3 by just waiting for these little mana segments to go up, but more often than not there really isn't a point. An ability like that, sure, but fireballs are going to kill people regardless, so why the hell even bother? Alright, let's have just a little bit of... I don't even know what that is. A mild breeze. I don't know, something like that. There you go. Some more fire to prevent them going up there, and this is just going to drag on for ages. It really, really is. That's the sad thing about it. There's just nothing else to it. What would I have done? Well, again, upgrades, because progression matters. Start off with, like, level 1 lightning, have little talent trees or whatever. Even just have linear upgrades as you go later on, and the ability to buff my fireballs or something along those lines. Have more stuff you can do, because in reality, all you can really do is 3 things. Stuff doesn't even combo together very well either. Like, there's no synergy between any of the powers here. You just lay them down as often as they are off cooldown, and that's really all there is to the game. Which, I don't know about you, but that's not a game that I would play for any length of time, and certainly not a game that I would pay $10 for, bearing in mind that it costs about 1/10 of that on iOS devices. That said, on iOS devices, it's not as good. One, it doesn't look as good, it doesn't play as well, and it's got this annoying gesture-based control system, which is nowhere near as good as just being able to use the keyboard and mouse. I mean, control in this is just flat-out better. I don't think anyone could really dispute that. Alright. There's a bunch of ships coming in. I believe we are actually able to sink these. So we can prevent a few guys coming in. So that's just a simple little mini-game where you lead the target, sink as many ships as you can. There we go, which is, again, not especially difficult. Leading the target without... You even get less abilities in that, which is really unfortunate. I mean, come on, it's only fireballs, really? What about lightning, tornadoes, all sorts of stuff? So yeah, just this little mini-game, and then you get right back to what you were doing. Not enough to this game to really justify buying it at all, and that's a real shame. What else could it need? Well, obviously, more variety in enemies. I don't think there's really any question about that. Even with the DLC, there are only about 5 or 6 types of enemies, and one of them is just a reuse of the previous enemy with a different power. I mean, come on, really? That is the best they could come up with? That's as creative as they could get? Not really all that impressive, is it? Not exactly. Don't even get me started with the fact that those pot-bearing guys are just incredibly irritating. I mean, it's fine to put a challenge in the game, but when you just block out one of the few abilities that you actually have for a while, that's just not a fun mechanic. Maybe if you had 12, 15 abilities you could use in a game, but you can't. You can use 4, and then every 5 minutes maybe use an ultimate, and that's it. That's all the game involves doing, so that isn't particularly well designed. It's just the whole game is incredibly Spartan. Not in a good way, and there's so little to it. Eventually, you're gonna lose. Obviously, with the campaign, you've got objectives, so you can win those missions, but really, the campaign is also not particularly varied either. It just chooses which powers you use and stuff like that, and so obviously, you're limited in certain respects, but even then, I mean, come on. This is the kind of thing that I would maybe play for a couple of minutes on a mobile device, and indeed you can do that, and you're probably better off doing so. Although, as I said, you will get frustrated by the controls. As a title on PC that's expected to keep me going for any more than about 5 minutes, especially if you're going to charge me $10 and then charge me $3 for the DLC, I can heartily say hell no, quite frankly. It's so simplistic, and it sucks because it's such a great concept. Like, hey, I gotta be a god and smite the heathens. Well, so this god is pretty damn unoriginal, I've gotta say. He doesn't even try. And what's with these guys consistently trying to build the sodding tower when I continue to smite them and set them on fire? You'd think they'd learn their sodding lesson after a while. Apparently not, though. These guys are truly, truly stupid. Now you can see I've got 2 of my abilities locked down, which is a little annoying, to say the least. And now he's gone with his whole, hey, I've got protection from everything. It's like those annoying players in Magic the Gathering. Play protection from all this stuff. Like, oh, you are irritating. Alright, power it up to 100%, and that's actually the lamest power. Funnily enough, bearing in mind that the water one is kind of sucky because it just does rain. The ultimate is this massive flood, which looks really great. I don't even know what that is. I think it's just, I don't know, a breeze. That's my ultimate power, really. I've got lightning and tornadoes, and this is a sodding mild breeze that might have to cause me to wear safety goggles. Really? Not impressed. There is so little left to actually say about this, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and show you another game, because this could go on for hours. So I'm going to go back, show you survival again, maybe on Ishtar Gate, why not? Let's play it on a harder difficulty, and I'm going to go with Earth and Water. Alright, here we go. Alright, so I'm going to simulate what it's like in Northern England. By Northern England, I mean all of England. Oh no! Mild rain! Oh no! Really? That's a lame god power. You also get the ability to throw rocks at people, which you have to be fairly precise with on the Earth side of things for obvious reasons. You can also cause an earthquake, which is quite nice, and then the ultimate is what you would expect. You can freeze people to death using this ability here. There you go, I've just demonstrated my entire repertoire of godly powers in about 20 seconds. No wonder these guys try to build a tower. These guys don't even fear me. I have such lack of originality as a god. They're probably bored of me. It's like, you know what? Maybe if we incur his wrath, he might actually be a little bit less dull. Apparently not. On iOS, the boulder power is really annoying to use, I might add, because I do have this on iPad as well, and you've got to be so precise. But with a mouse, it's much, much easier. And that's it. That is what Babel Rising is, which is actually very disappointing. I was hoping for more. I really, really was. But it's another example of a great concept not being taken anywhere near far enough. And in this case, it's not even a case of saying, oh, well, what if this game was a different kind of game? No, it's just, there just isn't enough in this game to justify buying it. Flat out simple as that. The smiting only goes on for so long before it gets dull. I guess that's why our god doesn't smite us anymore. He got bored of it and went elsewhere. I don't know. It's disappointing again. This is the theme of the week. My name's been Totalbiscuit. Take a look at Babel Rising, currently available on Steam. I also believe it's on Gamersgate as well, if it interests you. It is, of course, on iOS devices too, so that might be something you'll want to consider. If you want a cheap toilet game, then great, but for $10 on PC, I'm going to go with no. I'll see you next time.